Subscribe to our YouTube channel for in-depth interviews of India Inc. and press the bell icon so that you do not miss our updates.
Hello and welcome to Nirmal Bang, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hirol Dadia. We have with us Mr. Sushil Suri, CMD, and Mr. Ajay Sharma, CFO at Morpan Laboratories, joining in. Welcome to the show, gentlemen, and hope everyone is safe right now. And it's a pleasure to speak to both of you. My first question coming to you is, earlier there was anticipation as to what's going to be the impact of COVID, how is everyone going to deal with it. However, there were no major concerns coming in for the pharma sector apart from how the supply chain is going to be, because that was one of the major concerning areas. For your company as well, if we see the numbers, a very good set of numbers that have come in for the first quarter of FY21. Uh, if you could just give us a few highlights of what has really worked in the quarter first, Mr. Sushil.
Good. I would say that COVID certainly was a big challenge and it is still a challenge. But the major challenge was during I would say, last days of March and probably early April. But after that, we could see the things easing out. Thankfully, pharma industry was into essential items and the government was permitting vehicle movements and they were allowing some staff movement. So major was the supply disruption was from offshore suppliers, particularly China, because supplies were locked. Earlier, China was locked in January and February, even in the March. When China opened, India locked. So we had, I would say, a big tussle. How do we get our supplies in that line? Then when things were reaching India, our customs were closed. Then transportation within India was closed. Interstate movement was closed. But I'm sure that things were easing out in April and in May also. And now 70 to 80% of things are normal. I would rather say 80% things are normal. Only restriction is on interstate movement because our plants are in Himachal. So we have Haryana and Chandigarh close by. Staff movements are coming from Haryana or Chandigarh, Panchkula. So staff buses have little issues. And maybe if we have some engineer has to go for some maintenance, some bolts have to be changed. Those little issues are there. But things are easing out and we are thankful to Government of India for the so-called unlocking. Locking was always welcome, unlocking is more welcome. So there are no supply disruptions now and everything has worked very well. And more important was, I would say, the whole appeal or the whole zeal and passion for everybody that, okay, factory band nahi hogi, ek bhi din band nahi hogi, ye to nahi hogi. So we worked it hard.
Right. So that's something which is really encouraging as well. Now, Mr. Sharma, if I have to come to you as well in terms of where individual numbers go, good growth. We've seen revenues grow at almost 27%. Profits have jumped 155%. Cash profits are really good, and that's something which I've heard from everyone as to that the cash movement, the cash flows have improved, the cycles have improved for majority of the counter companies which do have products which maybe are B2C. Uh, if you could just help us understand, is this kind of performance expected to continue according to you?
Just to, as far as AP is concerned, we trust that this number will be able to maintain in the coming quarters because we have been trusted as a continuous supplier of the API and we are able to realize better margins. So I understand that at least for this financial year, we'll be able to maintain this number. And going forward, as we are expanding the industry, so we will be able to maintain the number. The cash flow will be better. You see, over the year, cash flow has been better, but in order to increase the financial year, as well as increase the next well. So I don't feel that cash flow will be issue. And going forward, that we keep trying this cash in our domestic sector, working through the financing and so forth. So going forward, we understand this.
I think your voice is disturbed.
Yeah, I was just going to come back. Mr. Sharma, I think your voice is going very low.
So what
I can add up that the numbers which we have presently, particularly the API growth, which we are expecting it to continue because we have a very good order book. And thanks to the huge shortage of supplies and thanks to the whole demand and supply situation, we have a very heavy order book and we are comfortable and going forward, the growth will continue.
Right.
To answer your question very specifically.
Right. And overall as well, absolutely in terms of where the API business goes, the growth has been good. We've almost seen a 44% growth on a year-on-year basis. The contribution to overall revenues has also increased. Now we have the government of India as well, who's really coming forward, being aggressive to support India on the API side so that we do become self-reliant. Uh, for Morpin as well, what will be the strategy with regards to where meeting the API demand in India? Do we see, further growth happening on that front, or do you think this is the peak that we can see for the next 2 years?
Rahul, thankfully, we first of all appreciate the efforts done by Government of India. Honorable Prime Minister had been very seriously talking about self-reliance. Now, particularly, they are talking about API, and for the first time, API word is the headline in Economic Times. Nobody understood what is API earlier. But we are happy that things are being talked in a positive fashion. So the way we are seeing it, the growth is going to happen not because government wants it. The growth is going to happen because the whole world wants it.
Correct.
Everybody wants to source out of India. So
Hmm.
the demand which is coming to us is because nobody wants to buy from China. It's not that anybody hates China. Now the reliability factor has gone down. The corona factor has given a so-called mistrust. And no doubt that they have good commercial, they give you cheaper material, but people don't want to rely on China. I don't say they don't want to buy from China, they don't want to rely on China. Even
Hmm.
if we start as a second source, it's a good beginning. So we feel this as a very good, I would say, encouraging point. There was a time we all were going to China. Now everybody is coming to India. So coming specifically to our strategy, we have basically two-pronged strategy. One is the products what we already have, and the pipeline what we have. Earlier for a pipeline, we were thinking, oh, maybe we may buy a key intermediate from China, just do one step, two steps in India. But now we are very clear, whatever products we are doing, have already approved an expansion plan that all the products in the pipeline, they will be manufactured in India, manufactured out of our own plants, and we'll have a huge, I would say, backup plan for that. Second is what Government of India wants, that there are certain key raw material which we are importing from China for all industries. For that, we have to set up an intermediate block
Hmm.
or key starting raw material, KSM they call it. For that, we do not have facilities, we do not have capacities, and Government of India is encouraging that they want to make API parks. So API parks are being planned, three API parks in one in south, one in perhaps Gujarat, and one in the north. So there is a good chance that the API park would come in Himachal. There's one planned for Haryana. There's one Haryana, Himachal, or Punjab where it will come. So if it comes in whatever state, we'll do a big setup there. That is where we'll go for a major expansion to replace I would say, the China capacities, to add the capacities of India which do not exist. So these are two prongs. So first plan has already been approved by the board,
Hmm.
and we have already, I would say, started. We got the clearance from the single window system in the state. Environment clearance is on the way. So we are all set.
Right. So right now, Mr. Sharma, if I have to look at the existing products in the API segment, are we manufacturing at full capacity?
Right now, we are utilizing at least 75 to 80% capacity, which would, over a period of 3 years, would be 100% utilized. By 3 years, we have the capacity expansion that we're planning. So, but at the same time, we are adding year on year, we are spending some expenditure on capex up to 15 to 20 crore rupees. So, capacity expansion has been year on year, but major capacity expansion will happen after maybe 3 years. Maybe the first year will be say 1 ton, 1,000 metric ton, then it will be adding on. So, capacity expansion will not be any bottleneck for our API business. So whatever customer and markets come to us, we'll be able to serve all those markets. So I think we are very placed as far as capacity utilization and expansion is concerned, and we'll be able to deliver all the products very well to our customers.
Right. So what's the quarterly?
Just to add on the capacities, so what Ajay told that certainly the capacity expansion is going in routine, but with the new expansion, what we are going to add now, the new plant, what we are going to, this is going to happen after 20 years. The last expansion we had was in 98, 2000.
Hmm.
It got US FDA. So after 20 years, Morpen is going for an expansion, which is a celebration for us.
Absolutely, and this will be celebration. It's not only going to be for the company, but as a market itself, it's going to be good news because it's going to support the businesses really well in terms of the pharma sector. And if we look at this capacity expansion as well, and add newer products on the API side, taking all guidelines into consideration, what's the kind of revenue run rate that we are envisaging on a quarterly basis? Because currently, even if you have to take, say, 150 to 200 odd crores on a quarterly basis on an average, uh, by how much will we expand that?
I would say quarter to quarter, certainly I don't want to add that
Mm,
very
mm.
loud. But by adding new capacity, the turnover is going to double up, other than the
Okay.
routine capex. So we'll have at least double the volumes.
Right.
And
And
that too in high value drugs.
right. So, Mr. Sharma, then how does the domestic versus the export market breakup change? Because right now, majority of the APIs are exported. Now, if we are becoming self-reliant, I'm sure the share of the domestic business in the APIs will also increase over time. How does that math change?
See, currently we are having around 70% of our total API, which is exported. So, and 30% is domestic. But I understand that API demand worldwide would be increasing because India being a hub for API. So this ratio, I think, would be maintained in years to come. Because as such, Indian capacity is Indian consumption is increasing as well as the worldwide consumption is also. So I understand keeping with the previous year's number. To my understanding, this number, this ratio would be maybe 5-7% here and there, but this more or less this band would be maintained in years to come, at least for 5 to 10 years. Maybe after 10 years something will change, but I understand that this band would be maintained years to come.
Right. And overall, moving on from the API side, if we have to look at the device business as well, I mean, we are seeing growth, and I think right now, due to COVID as well, the usage with regards to, say, oximeters, thermometers, blood pressure monitors is something which is increasing. In fact, oximeters is something that you have introduced in the first quarter of FY21. Uh, how are you seeing other inclusions happening in this product portfolio? Do you think we will be adding newer products, or will this remain as the basket?
You want to add? Or
Yeah, Sukhir would like to speak this question. Yeah.
so in the diagnostic business, we have, I would say, multiple plans in place. One of them is related to expansion of the existing things. We are already doing BP monitors, glucometers, weighing scale, thermometers, and all the devices.
Absolutely.
Going forward, for example, in the current quarter, we have added an oxygen concentrator. It is presently in the light of the COVID patients, the people who are feeling breathlessness, sitting home, they can use the oxygen concentrator. So basically, it is like an entry into respiratory market. So we are seeing where are the openings and where are the places. For example, first time in the whole world we realized, oh, by the way, we don't have ventilators. It's a very small issue, but nobody thought that so many ventilators would be required. So we are trying to find out white spaces where we can enter. And more important, on the consumer side, we have a big potential to get into the wearable market, Bluetooth market, wherever people can monitor their diabetic, cardiac, even oxygen on the go. People can maintain their health checkups, they can maintain their fat content and everything. So these are the things which are happening, but we just try to remain within the home diagnostic.
Right. And with this, again, a lot of introductions that did come in on the OTC side of business as well, where almost a little over 60% of the contribution of the OTC business was on the back of COVID-related products. Now, do you think that's going to be a one-time scenario and we will see COVID-related products decreasing in terms of the total contribution to OTC? Or are you envisaging an increased sales where people will make this a part and parcel of their lives, where there will be a continued use and the contribution increases?
It is a very $1 million question. Nobody knows how long this COVID will stay. Assuming where we are today, I think whether COVID may go, but I think our habits will change. We have a habit of washing hands again. We may be using masks for another 6 months, maybe 1 year. People remember that there was SARS in Japan maybe a few years ago. People were still using masks. and they're using masks, and many other diseases have gone down. So we are assuming that these habits will remain, whether it is a hand wash, sanitizer, mask, and few other products, for example, immunity. So now maybe you or your parents have been talking about immunity, but the younger generation, they don't want to listen about immunity. They're happy taking pizzas and burgers. So this immunity is going to be a new market. All of a sudden, if you see, Dabur has become very active again because
Correct.
people are writing off that, okay, these are Ayurvedic product. Oh, by the way, Kada pila hai, ye pila hai. I think that way, changing of habits and changing of lifestyle is one positive factor that's going to happen. And we surely are finding some, I would say, whenever change happen, whenever disruption happen, opportunities there. So we are seeing a lot of opportunities there.
Right.
Vitamin C candies, and people are sitting home. So a new market has developed, home market. Sitting home, what do you want to do? You want to take care of your skin, you want to take care of your eyes, you want to take care of your hair. No makeup now. They're just taking good care of it. So
Correct.
that's, I think, the changing market. And we are seeing a lot of opportunities.
Absolutely. I think the dynamics are completely changing right now as well, as you're saying. And with this, Mr. Sharma, let me come to you with regards to the bottom line right now as well. Again, as we mentioned, a good growth. If you talk about the operational numbers as well, the top line has increased. The expenses seem to have been really controlled, and the cash profit has increased. So, what are the expenses that we've tried controlling during this quarter? And do you think it's possible to continue with this trend going ahead?
See, this quarter, our administrative cost has come down because people were operating from the home. So your traveling comes down, and electricity, power consumption, you're able
Hmm.
to increase into our office building. And so all these liquid costs has come down, hotel expenses, no car expenses. So those things have come down. So over a period, they would see some spike, but as I understand it, as business will grow, so increasing business take care of whatever increase in expenses will take place. So I think whatever normal expense level has been over the year, some cost will come down definitely because now I think at least for next 1 year, travel
Hmm.
will reduce and people would be operating from the home. It is what I understand this financial year, there would be leisure the expenses. So if once COVID is over and uh, back to the normal level, but at least this financial year, see a decreased expenditure maybe next 3 quarters as well.
Right. And in terms of overall business as well, Mr. Sharma, again, as we know, it's API which contributes the maximum. Now, taking into consideration the growth that could come in the OTC side, in the diagnostic side, on the formulation side, are we expecting a change in terms of the revenue mix and in turn the margin profile?
See, API is going to maintain this lead in years to come. If we talk about this financial year, definitely.
Hmm.
And as far as rest of the business is concerned, they are also contributing. So what I understand is this quarter, whatever we are maintaining, say 64% of the API is the overall of the business thing. So this broad range would be maintained at least for this financial year. Maybe for next 1 or 2 financial year, it would be maintained because API we are putting more and more focus. So and we are doing capacity expansion also. But at the same time, diagnostic business is also moving, and formulation business is also going to grow. So this financial year, this formulation business has not been that good because of doctor not being in their clinic and our sales force not being able to meet them. So uh, I think this ratio and this profile will be maintained. All the businesses growing.
Hmm.
Business is also growing. In fact, diagnostic business is doing CAGR of over 25 to 27% over the last 5 years. So that is also really good potential. So I think we have fairly good placement for all the business. So any business won't be at the expense of other. All are parallelly. And I think we are really placed in all the businesses.
Right. And
Companies and businesses are competing. Everybody wants to grow better
Yeah,
than others.
absolutely.
API has size, so it'll grow faster.
Absolutely. And Mr. Suri, with the mega expansion plan as well, around 178 crores is the total outlay that we are looking at. 2 to 3 years is when we will start commercial production from the new facilities as well. Now, I understand that we are going to fund it through internal accruals and through raising external money as well. But what's going to be the kind of breakup? How much of it will be through internal accruals and how much of it will be through external funding?
Well, it would really depend on the timings because we have internal accruals quarter on quarter. So the first time to fund the working capital because the markets are tight. So everybody wants to sit on cash and nobody wants to throw the cash here and there. And the second is how fast really do we get approvals? Because first year is going to be primarily construction phase where we just need 48, 50 crores for the construction. So I would say maybe around 40 crores. So which we are comfortable. So at least for 1 year, we don't need any internal external funding. But on again, demand and supply. So ultimately customer is the king. If we need to push it forward, we need to do it fast. We may need some borrowing, we may do because we are a debt-free company. But otherwise, as it stands today, we are comfortable and we have enough cash flows. But we are not closing the doors. Market is open and people are open, and we are not, let's say, averse to any discussions because ultimately we are looking for some cooperation and collaborations for major expansion on the setting up an intermediate plant. Side this site, maybe same site, maybe some other site, wherever we get approvals. It's all ultimately market driven.
Right. And in fact, right now as well, the markets are really lucrative in terms of where fundraising is concerned, taking the interest rates into consideration. But any enabling resolutions that we would be taking sooner, with the board, with the shareholders with regards to fundraising?
Nothing on the cards.
Right.
There, we'll go through the stock exchange only. So you will come to know.
Right. And very lastly, Mr. Suri, overall, when we talk about the constraints that companies have faced during COVID has mainly been on the supply side, on the back of, disruptions that we've seen. Now, on how much portion of our raw material was being sourced from China earlier, and slowly, steadily, are we trying to reduce it? And how will that scenario look like?
I would say as we stand today, around 60 to 70% of the raw material is imported, and nothing much has changed in the last 2-3 months, except that we have started talking to people because there are no sources available. And whenever we are importing because it's not available in India, or the India source is not reliable. Reliable doesn't mean that its quality is not reliable. Supplies are not reliable. People don't have working capital, and they don't have quality standards. And maybe presently because of the lockdown, not many factories are open. So sometimes it is cheaper and rather easy to import. At least if you have placed an order for import, even if it takes 1 month, ki mahine mein aa jayega. If you order somebody in India, he won't even take a call for 2 months, then you're stuck. So that's the problem with our small scale industry, but nothing wrong because of the COVID. Some areas are blocked, and small scale industry particularly has a problem. And at the time of GST earlier, before that, some other reason. So we are always looking because we have international customers who got US FDA approval. We need qualified vendors. So the difficulty come in treating with the unorganized sector. Slowly there will be consolidation happening. So that's why I'm saying if we set up our own intermediate block, have our own independent, I would say self-dependence of the intermediates, so life may change for better.
Right. And then, taking India as a country like that, do you think it's going to be an easy task, Mr. Suri, to become self-reliant on the API side? Or do you think, how long do you think will it take for us?
I would say it's all the drive and the will. Basically, I would say, nothing related to our company, but in general, what is the government will? That has to be translated down the line. If, for example, if they said, okay, single window clearance, we get it within 2 months, very good. Now, environment clearance, do I get it within 1 week? It's a question. If we get it, fine, very good. Now, when you go to the next department, for example, banking, now, are the bank guys also on the same page? Answer is no. They are on a different trip. They are saving their own lives, and naturally so, they have to do that. And when it comes to taxation, are the guys on the same page? They are on a different trip. So the whole point is we have to work as a country, as a unit, as a one company. So in our country, perhaps we have different departments working in different directions. Now, thanks to the overall consolidation of everything. So Modi ji leads the way and he wants everything in a single direction. I think that's the spirit. And coming to the timelines, I think we are comfortable. We are, I would say, competitive. We can do it. And as a industry person, I would say the biggest limitation our industry has is money.
Right.
Throws money. They have interest rate of 2-3%, practically free. They give free land, cheap power, and we have to buy power at costly rates. We have to buy land. We have to go through land litigations, and then we have 100 departments chasing us. So I mean that's very common. So I mean, there's nothing unusual about it, but we are comfortable. So as corporate sector, we have been able to develop that base or a foundation. So whatever comes, we are happy to participate with the government.
Right. And with this, for the sector as a whole, to see this kind of development happen, you think anything more that needs to be done from the government side? Because right now everyone's talking of a stimulus package in some way or the other. There is a possibility there could be a second stimulus package as well. But anything that the pharma industry requires in terms of action from the government, according to you?
I think it's the speed and mindset. I would say it's a mindset because what we feel, I mean, sitting on the other side of the table, probably the people and the senior guys sitting in their so-called ivory tower, they don't understand the practical realities. So the thought process in the government offices is that, okay, the beginning is that how to stop everything. The industry wants that, okay, how to open everything. I think that's the basic difference. If industry is left on its own, for example, in the customs, they approve that, okay, to a large extent, 80% of the shipments can go unchecked. It's fine. If you start checking every shipment, and every shipment takes 3 years to check or 5 years to release, so 5 days to release, so it's a time-consuming process. But I would say from our side, there's nothing pending. Whatever government is giving, doing very good. Just it implement, and I think speed is an answer. For example, this API park we have been discussing since March. In August, we have yet to see the API park. So, but if they say, okay, this is the API park, this is the land parcel, you start. Then only I can talk to somebody, I can talk to my banker, I can talk to my engineering team.
Correct. Right. So I think a concrete plan and the execution plan for any of the announcements that the government is making is something which will be required from here on. But thank you, Mr. Suri. Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for joining us on the show. A great conversation, great insights that we picked up about Morphin as well as about the industry as well and what could be the growth prospects from here on. I hope you enjoyed the conversation as well and stay safe from Nirmal Bang.
Thank you. Thank you.